Hello. Hi. Welcome to She's the Phoenix with Natasha Lynn. It's episode 7, so we've been doing this for a hot minute now. And not really, but it feels like it for me. Consistency in Geminis. We get bored easily. And not that the podcast bores me, but like, I get anxiety. It's so weird because I can talk for forever. Like, if you are my friend, then you know for a fact that I can just go on and on and on and on. I can talk about anything. Ask my husband, he'll tell you. Like, I have a million thoughts and I like to share them all. Okay. Yeah, so sometimes it's like super anxiety, which is so funny because, like I said, like I am such an easygoing, like I will chat up anybody, I will say hi to anybody, like, but then like I sit down and I go to get under the mic and I'm like, fuck. Like, now I have to talk about a specific topic. Like, you want me to stay on topic for the whole time. Anyway, so I'm sorry. If I'm always all over the place, but in my head, it makes sense. Okay. That was totally not even what I was about. I just pulled paper out of my hair, y'all. Actually, I think it was a sticker. I don't really know where that came from, but anyways. Hi. Hi, loves. This drops on Monday, so hopefully you're listening to it on a Monday morning. If not, now y'all know I drop Monday mornings. Every week, there's a new show out. Okay. Kind of in a weird space. So, I've been thinking a lot about, like, what I want to talk about, what's going on in my life, like, because I know that a lot of you have questions and, like, we relate on the topic of grief. So, I do like talking about it and, like, helping make it through, but I also don't want this podcast to just be a reiteration of grief and my losses. And I also don't want it to be that way for you guys because I don't want it to bring you back to that feeling over and over again. You're going to have plenty of other things in your life that are going to bring you back to that feeling. But I do want to talk about dating after your spouse has died, because it's been a question I get a lot, and also it's just something that I feel like I need to kind of talk about. So this makes me really vulnerable because it puts me in a place where I feel like I can be very judged for what I'm about to say, but here's the thing, I don't really fucking care. So when my husband died, I had a little baby. He was 18 days old. And yeah, I was falling apart, you know? And I had like the normal rounds. Y'all know, if y'all have lost somebody significant in your life, okay, I don't mean that like that, but like if you've lost a spouse or a parent, when you're the house that's getting pivoted, like everybody's coming there, you know, it's like a line out the door of everybody coming to give their condolences, and I get it, it's really nice. You know, sometimes I wish that like the condolences could be brought to a minimum because it's so unnecessary. Wow, I don't even know if we should be talking about dating or not, because I felt like I could just totally riff on things you should not fucking do when someone first starts grieving. But we'll save that for a different one. I'm going to actually write it down. What not to do when you're first grieving. Yeah, so there's a lot there's so much I could talk about on that topic. And like pre-grief. Okay, so for people who are like, oh god, here we go. I'm totally riffing off of, anyways, it's fine. If you're here, you're here. Hi, babes. We will save that topic for another podcast. Okay. Dating after your spouse dies. Well, let's talk about how angry I was first. When your spouse dies, you get pissed at the world. Well, at least that's what happened to me. I was so angry. I was angry at the TV. I was angry at my brother. I was angry at my mom and dad. Like, I was angry at anybody and everybody who was having a romantic relationship, you know, or like watching people who struggled, or like, oh, there was a lot of resentment towards my mom and my dad because, as you guys know, my dad struggled with addiction. Mm, and so there was a lot of resentment that came up. Like, you guys like have gone through all of this. You've made all these poor decisions for your body, yet here you are getting 20, you know, they ended up getting 27 years total, 25 married. And like I got a piddly 6 months. Like, what the heck? Are you kidding me? And then, like, you know, my brother was like in this love phase, but he was also like so fucking devastated, guys. Like, one day we'll talk about it a little bit, just my perspective of this whole situation. But my brother was there when my husband died. He witnessed what happened. And if you guys don't know, reiteration real quick, my husband was drugged to death. He was drugged down a road over railroad tracks to his death. Anyways, so my brother watched that, and so did one of their best friends. Moving on. So I think that there was like a little bit of, well, a lot of bit of guilt, like, and like worry about him. So I never really felt like I was super, I mean, like, I did have moments where I felt jealous of him and his relationship, but not the level of like my parents, or, you know, like TV. Like, TV, I like had to leave the room sometimes because I tried to throw stuff at the TV. I would be so angry and I'd just be cussing the TV out the whole time. I was angry. I was so angry, and rightfully so. Um, you know, and people kept saying, "Oh, you'll move on," and I was like, and not move on, but you know, you'll move forward. It'll be okay. You'll find love again. And I was like, fuck all of you for saying this to me. Like, are you kidding me? I'm gonna find love again. Yay. Like, no. Hello. I just got freaking married. I just had a baby. Like, I don't want to find love again. I was literally just in like the most like, oh, what is that? Honeymoon phase of my life. Like, it was just perfect. We had his daughter Addison, who was a little over a year old, and then we had this little tiny baby, and we were buying a business, and things were just going really good, and we had been married for 6 months, and like all of these wonderful things were coming together, and he had a fantastic relationship with my family, and his family loved me as well, and it was just like there's so much good happening in our lives, and then this, you know, forever changing moment where he's gone. Like, now you want to tell me, like, your comfort is to tell me that I'm gonna date. Okay, thank you. So here's what happened. I'm not exactly sure how long it was. Several weeks after Curtis passed, I had a friend come over who was a male, who was kind, and who was nice, and in no way or shape or form did I have any intention or desire to be anything with this person. But I think that my family so badly wanted me to just feel okay again that they were a little pushy. That's just how I'll say it. You know, my brother was pissed at first. He was pissed about everyone. Weirdly, my parents weren't pissed about this guy specifically. I don't really know why. But I think it's because at first, everybody felt weird. I'd known him for a long time, so he would just come and sit across from me, like across the living room on a different couch, and like sit and talk. You know, and did nice things. Like, for a while, like a few months, he would just like pop in, like bring me a burrito, bring me coffee, a baby swing, bought me this really awesome like did all this crazy shit swing for a baby because I didn't have one and I was losing my fucking mind. But that's a whole different story. Yeah, so anyways, that guy was a very kind guy, but it was not the right guy. It was too soon and too fast, And I'm telling you this because, like, I think that when we lose and we're so hurt and we're so broken, we're trying to fill that fucking void, right? With anything, you know? And like I couldn't drink right away. Like I didn't pick up alcohol until Brantley was 10 months old. Like I didn't even have a glass of wine until he was 10 months old. And and then that's when he basically was like weaning off of being breastfed, so it was a lot just like different, and it was easier for me to have alcohol again. um but anyways, not the point. I just totally spaced. Okay, there was just like, so the guy was kind and nice and very giving and caring and did things I did not ask for. I didn't ask for anything. I actually asked for the opposite. Please don't expect anything from me. Please don't ask for anything from me. Please don't ask if I want to be anything more than friends. I don't know how to respond to that. And I got so overwhelmed and frustrated and pressured by that situation that thank God I had been in a healthier space at that point, and I had Brantley truly because I had my son. I bought a one-way ticket to California where one of my best friends lived. Yeah. And and I left. I left where I lived and I just went, me, this tiny baby that was like, oh God, what? I don't even think he was 6 months old when we got on the plane. The big suitcase and a one-way to Cali because I just had to get out. I was gone for over a month. I slept on a mattress on the floor with him at my friend's house for a month. Yeah. Because this is the thing, guys, is that everyone's timeline is different, okay? We're not going to get into this in this next sentence in depth in this episode, but we will talk about this because it's also a huge thing. For my mom was with my dad for 27 years, and the last year specifically of his life was so traumatizing that she basically lived not at home. And there was a lot of stuff going on, okay, because addiction, you know, was included. So my mom moved, I suppose what you would say, moved forward it very quickly to a lot of people. You know, she was engaged the same year that my dad died. Okay, and I'm just giving this for reference, not because I want people to like, I just want you to know that the journey can be different. It can be different for everyone. But this is my journey, and this is kind of like the things I learned about dating after loss. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't push yourself. You will know immediately if it's too soon. Immediately. If you're feeling like it's too soon, it's too fucking soon. If you're uncomfortable with anything happening, it's too fucking soon. If you feel like you panic inside or have you getting anxious or there's just this it's heavy, it's too soon. Okay, you don't need to force yourself to do anything. You don't, it's not, it's your fucking timeline. Okay, it's not everybody else's, it's your timeline. And for me, I got panicked, I got scared, I got overwhelmed. I did not want everything happening that was happening, and I didn't know how to say it because I was so broken. And people were putting these big expectations around me, and I couldn't handle it. And so instead of saying, hey, everybody, like, fuck off, this is my life, and like, you're just trying to make me move on. Like, I feel like you're just trying to make me move on and not talk about my husband. Like, I didn't choose this. I wanted him here. I don't want this. I want my fucking husband. Like, what is wrong with you? I had to leave. I had to. And thank God my friend could take me. Thank God she had the space for me. You know, we've been friends since we were 7 years old, so I knew she would always make the space for me. But like, I am so incredibly grateful because she saved me. She doesn't even know that. Her and her husband, by opening their home to me and just letting me come there, I got to grieve differently. Wow. It was a really healing time in my life, guys. I just got to sit with my emotions, you know? And I guess I fibbed. So I did have a little bit of alcohol, not much. I mean, when I say a little bit of alcohol, I mean like probably didn't even finish one like White Claw, guys. I couldn't. Like it upset Brantley's stomach, and I had not drank in almost 2 years at that point. So it was just like not. It didn't settle well, and it didn't take much. But like I came there and I just got to cook with my friend and bake with her and play the kids. She was a stay-at-home mom and her husband's in the military, and our kids got to play, and there's a park, literally we could walk. It was like not even, it was like the next block over, so we would walk over, and me and Brantley would just play at the park and swing and do stuff. Or Ashley would, I said her name, I never say my, whoopsies. Anyways, so now y'all know who I'm talking about. But my friend would take me to the store, and we would like buy just like at this time, like I just would like weirdly spend like crazy amounts of money on groceries. I don't know why, but like I would just buy the most bougie shit to make any meal. Like I don't know. I needed it. I needed like that outlet. And being there was safe because there was no one around. And they were so respectful, and her husband's friends were super respectful, and no one ever said anything it was a really safe space for me to grieve, and I just needed to grieve. And I had a friend who understood what it was like to be a new mom, and then like have this like I was trying to understand my body, and there was just like a lot of stuff going on, and I needed to just like move through it, because if I just knew like if I went home I was gonna be overwhelmed and feel like I was pressured again. And here's what happens when you get the chance to grieve and get space. You can start to understand that the anger won't always be there, that it will be okay to have male friends. Maybe you're not ready for it, or whatever. It would be okay to have friends that you may be attracted to. That's how I'll say that. Or whatever, male, female, whatever you are. Sorry. It was different. And so I was actually able to sit down and like look at my phone and like check and see the messages, and like pick and choose who I actually wanted to respond to, and I didn't feel overwhelmed or like I had to out of guilt. And my husband that I am, my husband now, like he'd be sliding up in my DMs like I'm dumb or something. Hey, wanna have a play date? Like, my baby can't even crawl. Yeah, sure. Anyways, he was persistent for a long time, and I was like, I ignored him for a long time. Preface, like we did know each other, like, but I'm not gonna get into all that drama. It's not really drama. It's just like I'm not gonna get into all that detail right now. That will be a different episode where I share all the things to know about my husband and how we met and how long we knew each other and all that stuff. But like for this, like I did know him before Curtis had passed. Like my husband had passed. I knew this man as a friend, nothing else. Had never been anything else, and it was barely, I wouldn't even call it really a friend. I'd call it more of like a mutual acquaintance kind of situation. Okay, let's talk about what happened when I gave in to that message. First, I let him know, like, bro, I'm in Cali and I don't know when I'm coming back, but preferably never. not really, like, you know, I wanted to come home. I loved home, but like I really, really needed a space to grieve, and I sure as hell was not getting it at home. It was way too much at home. Okay, so yeah, I was gone. I have no idea what even happened at home. I was so messed up that I couldn't even focus on my home, which was crazy because I was so obsessed with making sure that everybody in my family was safe and okay, that like I can't believe there was, I'm now that I'm thinking about it, there was this huge, I mean like 6 weeks where I just grieved. And I didn't give a fuck what was happening in my house. And for those of you who know and those of you who don't, like I grew up in a very trauma bound, codependent home and life. So it was, yeah, it's very strange, and you know, I mean, but grief does it to you. Um so I like kind of talked to my now husband, like kind of just like hey, hi, how's your day, stuff like that. Nothing nothing like, no flirting. I mean, maybe like a little bit, but also you need to know that like most flirting goes straight over my head. I have no idea it's happening. So he probably was trying to spit it a little bit more than I was picking up, but there was no push. There was just like an understanding of like, I just want to be your friend. I just want to be someone that can be there because you had been there for me once, so I want to be there for you. It was kind of the scenario that went down between us. And yeah, so fast forward to when it was time to come home. Just making sure everybody knows, if you have a other best friend who was, okay, so I have BFF in Cali, BFF in home state, Washington. Okay, BFF in Washington missing me so badly. Okay, you must know, like, this chick was there, like, she seriously, like, carried me through. Okay, so, like, every single day until I left for Cali, she was at my house. Every single freaking day, okay? In a roundabout way, she's kind of the reason that I met my late husband, Curtis. So, yeah, she wanted to go to drive to California and pick me and my baby up and drive home and do like a road trip, and it'll be so fun. And I was like, it's not that many hours, it'll be fine. It was fine. It was it was terrible. Not me and her fighting. It was terrible. Her freaking like brand new ass car, it was like 2 years old at this time. The transmission went out on it, and like some other thing, in the middle of the road, in the middle of the rain, in the smallest town, where of course they're having like their graduation, and so naturally there's not a hotel available, and it's just all of these things. Okay, it was wild. We had to take like, oh god, it was a mess. So then we had to have, so I almost, this is how husband now comes into play. Okay, so like obviously a little bit of chit chat because he is aware I'm coming home, but still no pressure, no talk of like go, no, nothing that even indicates that we would ever even be seeing each other. But I'm like, well, like this person I've talked to a little bit, I feel comfortable with, and at this moment I don't feel comfortable with most people. Okay, like I'm in a fucked up space. That's what grief does. So yeah, so he he almost had to come and pick us up in Cali because wait, what was it called? I don't even know where we were at. Honestly, can't remember, but it was bad. And he didn't. We ended up getting a different friend. Shout out to that person. I don't know if you listen to my podcast or not, but him, I believe his wife at the time, ex-wife now, a wonderful lady. But anyways, I think they came. Yes, it was him and his ex-wife. Okay, so they drove his big ass truck down with a trailer, car trailer, and picked us up and picked her car up. God, it was a mess. And I still have a baby. Don't forget that. I have like this 7-month-old baby. Oh my gosh. Anyways, we made it home. I made my husband now wait a whole nother week after I got home to hang out, you know. And I think at this point, it was picking up a little bit of like the flirty vibe. But I was still like feeling so guilty over that whole situation. Okay. How I knew that I might be able to do something more than just friendship was because of the way I felt. I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel there was no pressure, okay? I didn't have to do anything. And that's something that like I really want to like reiterate. Like when you are going to date again, if that time comes, when that time comes, I hope it comes. Everybody deserves to be happy, even after loss, okay? It's a big deal. For some reason, we decide that we no longer deserve happiness because we lost our person. So, yeah, that's cool. Like, I mean, that's not the truth, though. Like, we definitely still deserve happiness. Like, it wasn't a punishment that we lost our person. It feels like it. It feels like we did something wrong, even though they're the ones that lost the rest of their life. Like, it directly affected you, right? So there's guilt. So let's see. There's the guilt of feeling happy. It's still now. We have been together almost 5 years. And I can tell you that I don't feel guilty for being happy, but it took me a long, long time to get here. Okay? Years of the relationship before I felt okay and I felt happy and I felt safe to feel happy. Here's the other thing. Say what you want. You can say whatever the fuck you want about this, but if you are with somebody who does not understand and respect the fact that you will always forever bring up the person that you lost, like I'm never going to stop talking about my late husband. I'm never going to stop talking about Curtis. I have a child with him. I want him, his son needs to know about him, and not in some, oh, well, this isn't your real dad. We've never ever, you know what's really crazy is that I told him, like, the daddy that helped me create you is in the sky. And we call him Daddy in the sky. And then I say, and then the daddy who chose to be your daddy, because he got to choose that, is here. This is the daddy that we get to love, and he loves us here. And the coolest part about that is that he chose us. He didn't have to, he just chose to love us. Okay, but going along with that, like, there is never once where my husband now has looked at me and been like rude, told me I needed to stop talking, told me that he made him uncomfortable, told him that he didn't want me talking about my late husband anymore. Like, there was nothing ever once, ever in this entire relationship where he has ever said anything about me talking in any aspect, space, whatever, about my late husband, Curtis, okay? In any relationship, you need to find a strong ass person. I don't know how else to say that. Somebody who understands that it is not a competition, and sometimes you are going to say things and make it sound like it freaking is. You are going to compare. You are going to do things that are just out of the norm, and it's okay. We do that. That's just part of it. It's not okay to continue to do. It's something that we need to work on, and we need to learn to not compare, because it as much as it hurts the other person, and it hurts whoever you're with now. It is destroying you and your chance at happiness. And it's harmful. It's harmful, okay? But not once has that ever been the case with my husband. He has never, ever, I 100% real. I have my late husband's ashes right next to my bed. I sleep between my husband's every night. Take that how you want. Okay? Sorry if you're not into dark jokes. Occasionally this podcast isn't going to be for you, but listen, it's the best threesome I've ever had. I'm so sorry for that. But listen, I love it. So inappropriate. Oh, I don't even know if I'm supposed to say that. Anyways. I can say whatever I want. Seriously, they've met once or twice, by the way. They had met. So Curtis isn't my late husband, is like 9 months younger than me, and then my husband now is 5 years older than a little over 5 years older than me. Yeah. Okay. So like you have to think like there's like 6, 7-ish years between them, and so like one was like really like husband, my husband right now. Sorry guys, it's weird, but his name's Mike. I don't like saying people's names on the podcast, but it's my fucking story and it's my fucking podcast. Okay, Mike is like calm and mellow, and Curtis is like that guy, his eye winced at me. I'm gonna punch him in the fucking face. You ready to fight? Like, total opposites. So it was interesting when they met. But, yeah. So, like, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, the comparison would be insane to do between the two of them. Because, like, I'll be honest, like, they're about the same height. And I suppose around the same build, but nobody will ever be able to beat out my late husband's butt. Like Curtis, his butt was huge. I'm not kidding. Like he would blow out jeans all the time. I don't know how many pairs of jeans my mom patched the ass of because he would squat or he would forget he put something in his pocket and squat and blow them out. Yeah. Okay, sorry, we totally got a little sidetracked there. But like for real. Okay, the comparison game. It's just, it doesn't work because they will never be that person. So, like, you're trying to manipulate them into being it. If that's where you're at and you can't, like, you can't work through it and you can't understand that it takes time. It's not just like, okay, we don't compare. Like, it does take time. But if you're constantly going back to that, then it might be something that you really need to reflect on. Are you ready for a relationship? Are you ready for these things? What is holding you back? Why? What are the qualities of your spouse or the person that you lost that you love so dearly that you feel like you're lacking now? Okay? Well, oftentimes it's not to be mean. It's because you feel like there's a lack of what you had. And it's not just the person, it's the way that relationship worked, you know, the way they treated you, the way they talked to you, all those things. Okay. We're gonna move on from comparison. Let's just... Okay. I'm gonna backtrack us a little bit to the beginning of, like, when me and Mike first started dating, okay? I would lie about going to his house. I would say I was staying the night at my friend's house because I did not want anybody to know where I was going, and I definitely didn't want them to know I was going to a boy's house. And this is the craziest part, a man's house. I was 24. Okay? I was 24 years old. So and a mom. I had just been married, you know, like I did not need to be telling anybody where I was going. And I did not need anybody, like, oh, who was gonna yell at me? Who was gonna yell at me? Nobody, because I was a friggin' adult. Like, anyways. Okay, so, like, he had an apartment, clearly, like, he had his own life going on before me. But one time, like, this is, like, touching base on like you're gonna have weird anxiety and like weird triggers and like weird things that just happen. Okay, so one time in the more beginning stages of our relationship friendship thing that was happening, he was supposed, like, I kind of knew his schedule, or he would kind of tell me what it was, and like I knew when he was off work, I knew when he was supposed to be getting his daughter, and that was a lot of my anxiety because of like knowing where he's supposed to be, and just knowing that he was safe. It wasn't really about where he was, it was more like knowing that he was safe and he was, you know, where he's supposed to be, not in some controlling way. And one day, like, I knew he was supposed to have his daughter, and he wasn't answering, which was really weird. Like, we were at the space where like it was, I agreed, and he had told me, you know, and I set the boundary, like, hey, my daughter is not meeting you, you know, and I was fine with that. Obviously it was a little different because I had this tiny little baby that went with me everywhere, but like I understood, like, his daughter was his entire world and still is his entire world, and he was very, very clear and precise and protective over her, and I was absolutely 100% okay with that. But he wasn't answering, and I was like panicked inside, because I just, like, we were at that spot where it was a pretty regular, safe, you know, conversation that was happening, where the communication was regular. So I literally load my baby up in the car, and I'm like I'm like losing it. I'm crying. I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my, he died. Like, oh my God, I thought something bad happened to him. I was in full panic mode. Like, I called him like 55 times, didn't answer. So like I'm driving to his apartment to go like beat on the door. Like, yo, are you okay? Are you alive? Like, see if his car is there. Like, I was freaking out. So like halfway there, he calls. And he's like, hey, so sorry, I fell asleep. He was working 3 jobs. I forgot to mention that. 3 jobs, okay? So, like, he was exhausted. 2 or 3 jobs, I can't remember. Anyways, he was working a lot. So he's like, are you okay? Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh my God, how do I tell him this? Like, how embarrassing is this? Like, yeah, I'm totally fine just driving to your apartment right now because I thought you died. Like, but I told him, like, I was so weird. In grief makes you weird. The anxiety from grief makes you weird. But I just said the truth. Like, totally panicked. Like, hey, I thought you like died. I'm like crying. He's probably like, this girl's nuts. Honestly, I don't really know. Like, I don't know what about that situation was attractive to him, but I guess something was, because he stuck around. And I'm sorry, like, I laugh a lot because it's just funny to me. Like, sorry, Rick already knows. He just, like, he would just let me be me in my grief. And just, like, a lot of times was really quiet, you know? Not like in a bad way, but I think sometimes it was just like, I just needed to let it out, and I didn't need suggestions or help or opinions about it. I just needed to let it out. And I know this is really tailored to just like that relationship, because he ended up being the person that I am now remarried and married to him. But like, I just really wanted to like talk about what it was like to date, you know. And we were together for 4 years. Yeah, 4 years before we got married. And we had a lot of shit happen in there, which I'll talk about a different time, because there's a lot of growth that happened, you know, and a lot of things, a lot of bad and good, a lot of shitty shit, okay? And this is the thing that I'll always tell you guys, like, I'm gonna be 100% transparent with you guys on everything I talk about. Doesn't matter what it is, I'm 100% transparent. Even if it makes you fucking feel uncomfortable, I'm sorry, but that's just the way I am. And, you know, there was a lot of shit that happened in those 4 years before we got married. Even the separation. But yeah, so not what we're talking about. But I can tell you that even after even being married now and everything, I still grieve my late husband Curtis. I miss him. It doesn't stop. It doesn't change. It doesn't. I tell him stories about him. I mean, I think I just told him one earlier today. I mean, it never really stops. You know, like this is his birthday month. You know, his birthday was the 22nd of March, and like we celebrate it. Like he celebrates my dead husband's birthday with me, with no problem, every year, every fucking year. Okay. If there is a date that feels significant to me, he will celebrate it with me. It's never uncomfortable. It's never weird. He never questions it. He never says, can we do something different or move on from it? Or do we really need to do this? Or you can go do it. You know, he wants to be a part of it, and he always makes sure that it feels like I have genuinely got to do whatever I needed to do to honor Curtis. Okay? And I need you guys to understand that. Like, when you are looking for someone, or hope, you know, you're ready to start, or you think you might be ready, you need to have these boundaries and expectations of a person, because let me tell you, it is not for everybody, and you will find that out. It's hard. Dating in general is hard. Dating after you lost your spouse, incredibly fucking difficult, because there's more to it now. And there's that fear, that worry. Well, what if I talk about them too much and then they don't want to be around me anymore? Fuck them, okay? I don't mean that rudely. I just mean it's fucking fine. Let them go. Let them go. Do not stifle yourself or shut down your grief to be in a new relationship. It doesn't, like, my grief of my husband does not control every single day, every single minute, every single second of my life. There are many days, months, where it doesn't even seem like it almost affects me. I say that with quotations, okay, because it always affects me, but it's not, you know, all the time. But even if it was all the time, like it was in the beginning, there were so many things, that just random things. I never knew what was gonna trigger me to just lose my shit. Like, how was I supposed to know? Like, oh my god, we drove past Arby's and he loved roast beef melts, and now I'm losing my shit. And that's not like funny, because yes, my husband loved them, but like it is funny because like I'm crying. Like, roast, whatever they are, the you know what I'm talking about. They're disgusting. Arby's sandwiches, okay? I just see an Arby's and it would make me sad, because I knew how much you fucking loved Arby's. Or like, it took me, you know, I don't even know how long to cook certain foods again. Just all kinds of stuff, okay? All kinds of stuff. I just was working through it, and I still am. There's a lot more peace in my life now about it. But I've been supported by somebody who chooses to understand. When they don't understand, they choose to give the space and the grace to make sure that I feel safe in what I'm trying to experience. And also, I don't know what I'm experiencing. I know that it's probably grief, but I've never grieved before him. Not that way. I grieved at friends. I lost some friends, but not this profound, deep relationship that I had. And that's not to say that my friends were not important or the lives were not important. I'm just saying the connection and the depth of the relationship was not like the one that I had, obviously, with my husband. So I had no idea what it was like to have grief completely uproot and change your whole fucking world, okay? And the last thing you need is to add dating into that, and dating some douchebag who does not get it and does not care to get it, or does not show up for you in the way that you need. And I don't mean to say this. I mean, it just is what it is. We're going to be needier bitches, okay? Like, we are. We're just different. And we're going to be hyper independent in weird ways too. Okay, y'all, I hope that made some sense. I hope it gave you a little bit of clarity. I hope maybe it resonated for you. I hope that maybe it helped you if you feel like you're kind of in this weird lull, or like you just don't know if it's right or wrong or what's going on. Like, it's okay. Dating is hard, and dating with this lump of grief on top of it, it's ridiculous. But it's okay if you choose to. And the last thing you need to know is that it doesn't fucking matter when you choose to. It's nobody's fucking business but your own when you decide to date again. If it's 2 weeks after, all the power to you. If it's fucking 15 years later and that's when you finally feel like you can give it a go, or you're ready, or whatever it is, all the fucking power to you then too. The person who started earlier than the 2-week person and the 15-year person, there is no correlation in their depth of grief. There's no comparison. No, not one grieved harder than the other. You cannot decide that for somebody. You have absolutely no idea how that grief has affected them, their mental, emotional, physical being. Okay? So be fucking nice. If you aren't the griever dating, if you're just a friend trying to help a griever get back into dating, or maybe slow down, or whatever it is, remember that the biggest thing, the best thing that you can do is just support them. It's scary, wild, and new to them too. They don't know what they're doing, and sometimes they're gonna make bad decisions, you know? And it's not intentionally bad decisions, it's because they're trying to figure out how to fucking grieve. And I know that sounds really weird, but you know, we all do weird shit. Our traumas all do weird things to us. Yeah. I think I got, when it comes to somebody being compassionate about a late spouse, I hit the jackpot. Yeah, I'm grateful, and I hope that you hit the jackpot too, and I hope that this inspires you to know that somebody out there can do that for you, and you don't have to feel guilty about being happy again. Please, for the love of God, don't feel guilty about wanting to be fucking happy. Could you imagine if I had decided at 24 years old, the rest of my life, I'm just gonna be alone. And you know what? And that's okay if I had chosen that. And I just wanted to grieve. But I just couldn't imagine. Because I would have been so sad. I would have been so heartbroken, so devastated, so depressed. My son would have got one of the worst versions of me that he could have ever got. And I would have got one of the worst versions of me that I could have ever got. But I chose to be fucking strong. And it doesn't mean that you're not strong if you don't date. But I just chose something different because I thought that would be what was best in my life and my son's life. And I knew it felt safe. It felt safe, guys. Even when it was weary and I was unsure. You will know. Your gut will tell you. Okay? So listen to it. It's not wrong. It's not weird. It's not like, ooh, because grief. Like, yeah, grief is there. It's telling you things. It's making all your emotions more heightened. You're more aware of everything going on. Okay? If you're feeling something that's not right, then get away from it. Don't do it. But if you're feeling something that feels good and that feels okay, and then you feel guilty for it, fuck the guilt. Do it anyways. Okay? Fuck the fear. Do it anyways. Okay. I love you guys so much. thank you for being here, for listening to my weird rants, riffs, whatever you want to call them. I hope that this helps you, or if you know somebody that needs to hear this, please, please, please share it, send it, just get it to them. This is the whole point. The whole point of the podcast is to help. The whole point of the show is just to help people heal, move, and grow. And we got a lot of work to do, y'all. We got a lot of work to do. A lot of things to be said. A lot of things to grow from. And I'm so excited that you're here to do it with me. So, this podcast is called She's a Phoenix. I am She's a Phoenix on YouTube. I'm She's a Phoenix on TikTok. On Facebook, I'm Natasha Lynn. And on Instagram, Natasha Lynn _official. Okay, so follow me on one, follow me on all. I would love to have you. Please, 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 please rate the podcast if you can. Leave a review if you can. Subscribe wherever you can. It helps just boost the ratings. It helps the podcast grow. It helps me get my message out to more people. And that's what I'm trying to do here. So you're helping me grow and keep my dream going. So yeah. Okay. I love y'all, and I hope that you have a wonderful week. If this is when you're listening to it on Monday or whatever day it is, I hope you have a wonderful week. And I love you guys. Bye.